Good afternoon, everyone. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to properly select and resize images for the homepage rotator. I know several of you have struggled with the size of the picture and the aspect ratio. I think part of the problem is that you're using Windows Photo Editor or Microsoft Paint. These programs certainly will resize photos. Unfortunately, they have settings that, if you're not paying close attention, will appear to resize the photo properly, but actually do not. I know, for example, Windows Photo Editor, you have to go into the menu system and disable constraint proportion in order to actually resize the photo properly. So I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way to go about this. I'm going to start with a Google image search, and I'm gonna show you some different photos and how to judge which one might make a good candidate for the homepage rotator. So we'll start with that first. I'm going to type in the word student, and I'm going to go to images, and we'll see a whole bunch of images. Okay, the first rule is you must start with a picture that is at least as wide as the rotator. You do not want to start with a picture that is smaller, because you'll have no choice but to enlarge the photo, and 99% of the time it's going to appear stretched and blurry, and it's not going to be a good candidate for the rotator. And I'm going to show you a few. This one right here looks like a great photo, but if you notice, the dimensions are way too small. So while this is a great photograph, it would not make a good one for the homepage rotator, because you would essentially have to double it nearly in size. It's only 500 pixels wide. You have to have at least 800. So let's look at some other ones. These also do not make good choices, not only because it's too small, but because it is a portrait and not a landscape photograph. If you're going to use portrait photographs, then you'll have to create a collage, and we'll look at creating collages for the rotator in another video. I just want to concentrate right now on selecting a great photograph and a single one, and we'll look at composite pictures later. So let's keep looking. Again, not big enough. So the other guideline is you also need to pay attention to how close the camera is to the subject. This photo is probably a great candidate for the rotator. It's certainly wide enough, and it's certainly tall enough, and the subjects are far enough away from the camera that I think if I had to resize this to 800 by 312, which is the dimensions of a photo for the rotator, that 312 pixels will get most of this content. I'm not going to get this part, and I can certainly leave out the overhead projector, but I can get the vast majority of this picture in the rotator. Let's look at another one. Here's another good one. Certainly plenty big enough. It's nearly 1,700 pixels wide. Certainly tall enough. So it's going to resize and crop very well. The subjects appear to be far enough away that when I crop it, I can get most of them and most of the background in the crop. Again, this is not a scientific process. You're going to have to play around with different photos and just see what works and what doesn't. Here's a photo. It's not big enough. The subject is probably far enough away. It would make a good crop. Same thing here. Let me find one that is not going to be a great candidate, because this one right here, not going to be good. The person is way too close to the camera. Okay, so let's use this photo right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the image, and I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it on the desktop. Actually, I already had it. I'm going to put it on the desktop. I'm going to close that, and you'll see that I have it right here. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go through the process of getting this photo resized and cropped. Now again, there are a wide variety of tools: Microsoft Paint, Windows Photo Editor, Photoshop, Fireworks. Again, I like to make things as simple as possible, even for myself. So I use PicMonkey.com. Okay, very simple. When I get to PicMonkey, I'm going to have a couple choices. I can click to upload or I can drag a photo. We'll just click to upload and we'll pick desktop and we'll pick students and we'll pick open. And so I have my photo. Now, a lot of people want to immediately go to crop. You must resize the photo before you crop it. Okay, it must be reasonably sized before you crop it. Otherwise, it's not going to crop as well as it could if it were already resized. Now, I will also generally click this auto adjust button. Normally applies the sharpen and contrast filters. It's not always great, so you can always undo it. The undo button for anything you do is right here. So it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and resize. Here's a rule for resizing. You only need to change the horizontal width. You do not need to change the height. So just type 800 and it's already going to change the vertical ratio because we've decided, we've got this key proportions checked. I hit apply. Now it is properly resized. Now I can crop for the home page rotator. So I'm going to go to crop. I'm going to pick 800. I could use the little anchor tags and drag it around. You're certainly welcome to do that. It's just easier for me to type 800, 312, and now I have my crop window. Before I hit apply, I need to drag it around and make sure I get as much of these subjects as possible. And I'm going to set it to cut off just right above this gentleman's hair. Okay, and now I'm going to hit apply. And now I've got a great 800 by 312 photo that I can put into my SharePoint library and then use for my homepage rotator. And that is all there is to it. Okay, when I'm done, I click the save button. It's going to tell me, what do you want to call it, quality. I just keep this, I don't know what these names mean, but I would just keep it in the middle. It says good quality, great quality, good file size. It's 124.9 kilobyte. That's not too bad. If you change it to MEL, it says not great quality. It's really sort of going to depend, but 124K for the photo is no big deal. We run into problems when you start trying to rotate 3 and 4 megabyte sized pictures because at home, and I've told everyone this before in some of the training sessions, when you're at home and you're not on a high-speed network like we are here, then you're going to end up with painting issues and slow load times and so on and so forth. So try to keep the images as small as possible. And that holds true even for images you're just putting on regular pages. Now that I've done that, I can hit Save Photo. It'll save it back to my computer. I'll go ahead and click that and you'll see. It'll ask me where and all that junk. And then I can take it and, like I said, put it into SharePoint, publish it, add it to the homepage rotator. That's all there is to it. Great photo. Took me, if I hadn't talked through all of it, probably would have taken me less than 5 minutes from start to finish, and I had to go find a photo. Chances are you're not going to use stock photos off the internet. You're going to use, I thought I had put that on vibrate, sorry about that. Anyways, chances are you're not going to use stock photos, you're going to use photos you already have. Again, try to remember how far away the subject is from the camera. That's going to make a big difference when you go and try and crop this. Had these students been very close to the camera, this would not have been a good photograph to use. All right, that's it. That pretty much covers how to resize and crop a photo for the homepage rotator. I really, really, really urge you to do it in this fashion and don't use the Windows tools that come with Windows, Microsoft Paint, Photo Editor. If you aren't paying real close attention, it will certainly fool you into thinking that the pictures have been resized properly, and they have not been. I pointed this out to someone in training. They said, hey, my picture's still blurry and stretched. I'm doing it, but what they didn't see was right below in some sort of faded gray text what the actual dimensions were going to be. Even though they were typing 800 by 312, because that constrained proportions is still selected, it's not actually resizing it properly. Here, there's no guess. You'll see exactly what it's going to look like You have complete control. There are some filters and stuff you can apply to these photos. I'll show you that real quick. If you wanted to do something to sort of, give some artistic flair to these photographs, you can do stuff like that. You can, there's a whole bunch of them. That one's kind of cool. So you can do some things to sort of give these pictures a little bit of an artistic flair. Please don't do stuff like this where you draw stars and stuff on it. That I would steer clear of and not do that. But otherwise, there's some really great filters. You can do text overlays if you want to straight from this program. You don't have to make the picture and then go into Photoshop and add text to it. You can do all of these things from here. We have other textures. I don't recommend you do any kind of framing. The rotator is already framed in a white frame, and putting a frame around this, like this right here, and then another frame, it just doesn't look great. I would not do frames. The most I would do is a filter or put some text overlay and just skip the rest of that other stuff. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to produce another video later that shows you how to do a composite video so that you have a landscape and some portrait photographs, and you want to sort of make a composite image. It's really super easy to do that as well, and we'll cover that in the next video. Thank you.